is mile marker 136. It's just pretty well right off of Rock Springs, Wyoming. It's really a touching area for me. It comes down to a peaceful area. This is where I filmed the crane. They actually dig so much here. And they say it's for coal, but there's no trains or anything that actually come and pick up the coal, no trucks. It's just taking dirt, making mountains out of it. But this here is a truck parking area. It's on the east side of Rock Springs. Rock Springs is mile marker 100. When you get up to the Continental Divide, that's between Rock Springs and Rawlins. As you can see, all this dirt they pile up. You can see how high you go. That's the truck parking. This is I-80. It's about 50 degrees out. This is a good walk I take. You can walk right along this fence line here. It's very durable. This keeps all the animals away. Barbed wire. Looks like 3 sets of barbed wire plus the fence line. This is very solid. Everything else you can't go across. You can see how high you can get up here. This walk. It's about midnight here. It's the beginning of October 5th, I believe. I loaded butter out of Hiram, bringing it back to Wisconsin. I stopped here for my half-an-hour break. It's clear skies. I hope this camera picks up some of the stars. This fence line here is really neat. There's many wrecks that happen here, and in the winter time there's so many deaths in Wyoming. That's why I wish for everyone to just drive safe. You gotta really watch these holes here. Got one right here. A lot of animals that live up here when it comes to rodents. You go down south and there'll be a lot of snakes. It's all sagebrush here. This is sagebrush. And when it dries up, it'll become tumbleweed. But you can see how far up you can get here. You look at the truck parking area now. Should be a good view for all of you. I'm used to hiking all my life. especially in Boy Scouts and Marine Corps, Order of Arrow. It's very peaceful up here. There's so many trucks and traffic that goes by. You always have to look around to make sure there's no rodents, fox, anything that scurries. And as you can see, there's holes here. This is where they live. Especially in the wintertime, you pretty well have to go really far down, about 6 feet down, and they're about 60 degrees. The earth really holds its heat. That's how the rodents live, is just bury themselves. But you see what they dig up here, and they throw it all on top. They have huge cranes that do this 24 hours a day, taking the dirt and making these mounds all over, and it's just sagebrush. They just keep, so you got little brooks and all that here. Looks like a little life here, big ant. Coming up here is really nice to get away from the truck. Many people, for a half an hour break, they just stay in the truck. I take a nice walk. You always have to go around these holes here because you never know, life will come. And they get scared and you spook them, then they'll run and really show you who's going to be boss in their town. But this area here is where I do the best I can for saving lives in wrecks. And many don't. In the wintertime, I've always stopped it in car accidents. They're usually in the medium. You see all this kind of dirt, all that in Wyoming. All the rocks, they just pile everything up. When I was a kid, in the 70s, they really didn't have these kind of rocks and mounds. So I pretty well know what it looks like, and they just keep moving the cranes around and making these mounds on each side so you can't really see what's on the other side of the fence line. They keep it well hidden. But when I walk this fence line here, this one here really touches my heart. I always stop here. It was a wreck in 2010, and it was really sad because of the casualty on it. You can see it, this is really not what you call original when it comes down to this kind of debris. They really dig all this up and just pile it around. They try to make it look natural and give you a story on it, but it really isn't that way. Even Elk Mountain, they got done making those mountains. This memorial here is right down here. It's really sad because there's so many people that come home for Christmas, come home for holidays, see their family, and they don't make it through Wyoming, and it's very treacherous here, and it will really kick your butt when it comes down to the seasons and when it happens. But as you can see, this memorial here really touches my heart. This one here, as you can see, in loving memory. 21 years old, 1989 she was born. And 2010. It's been 11 years now, and this is her faithful dog, her faithful companion, Molly. But you'll see memorials like this all over. But this is a bad situation here. And I always remember when it comes to saving lives out here, many they die in my arms. And this one here is really a sad one. I always make sure I come back and give everything I can when it comes to making sure this site here looks good. They set up the stones really good, and I make sure it doesn't fall or anything. It's really sad for the family. And they set this up a while back, and it's really sturdy, and it's not going anywhere. The dog one is getting a little rusty, but looks like it's still doing good. It's Molly. It's such a sad one. It's always a memorial for everyone. But I've done really well on Highway Watch, and I want to make sure this family, when they come up to see this memorial, when it comes to her daughter and the daughter's dog. And she came home when it comes to her break from college, and this is where she passed away, right off the freeway here, and it was very icy, and she crashed right down here. It was very sad. Not many people make it, but I always come to make sure that that they're doing good. But I always make sure that they can always see this memorial, and I'll make a movie of this and make sure that she gets to Highway Watch and sees this one. It's very a sad one because she was so young, 21 years old. There's nothing you can do about it. I want to make sure I give her a letter that I still think of them. There's so many that do survive and so many that don't. But I want to make sure that they always get respect from think about a good place to put it before the snow falls. And they'll be arriving around Christmas time. But I hope she does well when it comes to the family. Very windy up here, so I'll make sure it doesn't fall. This is what I hand to many people, is my Highway Watch, and I hope I can help this family out with the problems we have with 5G and the microwave oven. That way I save her family, and I know that the daughter and the dog didn't make it. But I'm sure hoping that they could see this and take it home and help them when it comes to my book of knowledge of cancer and all the problems that we have here, and the fake news that we have, that people are just not understanding all the stuff I've done with anomalies in the book of knowledge. And I want to make sure that they get that knowledge and they can keep helping others. And that way, everyone always thinks of the ones that pass away. This one really touches my heart. I try so hard when it comes to saving these lives. It was so cold, so windy, but I'll never stop. It doesn't affect me until I leave, and then I feel the cold and the tiredness. But this is her full name. I didn't really know them. I always leave when the police and the ambulance arrives. You probably see my videos, even the motorcycle wrecks. I go right to the scene. I'm pretty well trained. And when it comes to volunteer, that's who I am. And I've done everything I can. But it's just sad about Molly. The dog was so pretty well, it was just a really bad situation. But I kept them both together until the ambulance arrived. They were very, very cold. But I wish I came sooner. But it was not very good. And I hope this family always feels my love when it comes to out here in Highway Watch, to make sure everyone's safe when they feel threatened or hurt. I always want to stand by their side as a good U.S. Marine to make sure that I come between danger and times of challenge. That's who I am, and I'm hoping all of you understand who I am and what heroes I have in my playlist. And this one here is really one that touches my heart. I want to make sure I share this with you. You can go by this road here, 136-mile marker, and you'll see it going eastbound. And you'll see it to the right up on the hill. And it's really a shame. Make sure I film this too. Sure to get this one. It's always a sad day for that, but I'll make sure I always have memory to tell everybody that life is very, very precious. It happens so quickly. I'm hoping I can get the name here for you all. Old. Doesn't matter what excuses anyone has, but this is just life. And it's just too bad that many take it for granted, but after it's gone, you wish that you had a second chance. With this, I hope all of you realize that please take care of yourself and make sure you're always healthy, and make sure that all of you will fasten your seatbelts and drive safe, and realize that anything happens when it's icy and snowy and the winds really kick around here. It's really sad, but as you can see, my walk here is very special for me, and it happens so quickly. This is actually a grade that goes up to the Continental Divide at the 142-mile marker. That's where you're at the top, and there's one truck parking there. At the 138 is where the crane's at, and this is a couple miles back. And the rest area itself is right at the bottom, and many crash down there too. But as you can see, my walk just take this fence line here. But again, you gotta watch for these animals. But this is where I was. It was a very cold, cold night. But when I see an incident like that, I stop, and I was on the other side, and I went across the median to this situation here. And nobody knew, and I saw there was a situation, so I wanted to make sure that this car was turned over in this ditch. And it was very scary to see that, but I had to come to it. And sure enough, there was a girl there and the dog. They're very cold. As you can see, these are animals here that live here, and see how deep and far they go. It's a long path all the way down. They usually bury themselves really far down. It's really sad, but many don't make it back because of the animals, the birds. They wait for them to come out of the hole. And they do. Some don't go back in the hole again, especially if there's rabbits and all that. Good shot here. I use my other camera here. It goes way down. That's the only way to survive, is just to burrow yourself in. But they keep very high hidden here. Traffic here is very busy, all day, all night, all year round. From the East Coast to the west, this is I-80. It's a good walk. I'm glad you walked with me to see the memorial. It's right up here. It's really far up there, but it's really worth it to show you. She was sitting in a lane here. The car rolled over right here. It was so sad. There's so many that I save, and there's beer bottles in there. And I remember it was a Fiero. I crawled under there. It was so cold in the middle of the medium in Wyoming. And he had beer bottles all over, and he was just discouraged, and he wanted to drink. And I was actually holding his head together. And it was really sad because he died in my arms, and he didn't know what to do. He wanted to reach over for the Bud Light bottle, and I told him I was holding his head together. I actually was holding his brain in my hand, and I was doing compressions, making sure he was still doing good, and I was doing direct pressure on his wounds, and I did everything I could to make sure he was alive till rescue came. But it took so long, especially out here in nowhere land. And he was actually blacking out. And he came to, and I asked him if there was any last words. And he kept saying he doesn't believe in religion. And so I asked him again, and he went ahead and he looked up over my shoulder, and he said, "Jesus, is that you, Jesus?" And then he closed his eyes and he went limp in my arms. So it was just those sad times where you try to be a hero and you learn everything about first responders and first aid and all that all my life. Even first aid meets and Boy Scouts and all that really keeps you going. American Red Cross, all that stuff, just in case. And you want to save them all, but each story is so different. Even the children, I had a 9-year-old boy die in my arms, and it was so sad because it was a fire chief in Idaho that didn't have seatbelts on. Nobody did. And they packed the blazer and they're going to a basketball game. And that one was really sad because of all the people in there and me trying to help them. It took all night to get everybody in ambulances on the way out, but that 9-year-old boy, that really woke me up, and I made sure that anything happens, I would make sure I would let you all know in Highway Watch the struggles out here. It's not so fun, and sometimes it's neat, but when it's really the storms and everybody rushing and trying to get to places, sometimes I got too much of in a hurry. But in that incident, I can honestly say my soul is very old now, and I'll never be the same. Every time I do anything like that, and even this memorial I showed you, it was just one of those things, and I had an instinct to stop. And being there and holding them and the dog, and how they were shivering, but the bones were broken, and it happened so quickly. The impact, and when you don't wear seatbelts, it just everybody flies around. They had concussions and all that. They're really sad, and they're really dazed, and everybody doesn't understand how quickly it happens and how sudden it stops, and then all your dreams are over. And usually their last words is that is what they're going to, their destination. I was just going here, I was coming home, and all that, and they couldn't believe it was over, and they were pretty well being distracted on worried about when they get there versus getting there. So I want you all to understand to please be safe and healthy. That life is very, very precious. And anything happens on any news, understand. I try to give you the truth of what's out there. And I want to make sure that you always are locked on when it comes to the real news and what I've done to show you, even being individually targeted to show you, it is what I do, and it's what Marines have to do too. So you've seen others and they get hurt, and some, they can't really do anything about it, and I'm just a messenger. And if they kill the messenger, then at least you understand that there's so many fast movies I made for all of you that even 2,000 movies you could see, I give you the idea of life that I had. And when I joined Homeland Security Highway Watch with ATA, I wanted to make sure that all of you are aware, because George W. Bush really needed help out here. And in Wyoming, Vice President Cheney, he was really in a wheelchair, and the next administration really showed everyone why they are here in Wyoming. And you have Cheyenne Mountain, and you have 3 others, underground modern cities, which I've shown you. And now I've showed you my last one with the underground and what Elon Musk is doing. And you can see my investigation to make sure that all of you are aware of what I've done in my homework. And I do have olive branches with many, and I'm really happy with Google and YouTube to make sure that we have all that for you. Even Google Images, they've been very giving to let me use that and make movies and presentation, and especially where you don't be the last to know. And if you have cancer, many things, all the books and many things I want to do to show you. But as you can see, it's a hard world out here.